Say the words ChiTown, Union Station, and Detroit, and you would think of two locations in the upper Midwestern U.S. We found that this ChiTown is actually a lot closer to Detroit than you would suspect. Let's go to Commerce, Michigan.
You'd have to go a long way to find a bigger two-rail O-scale layout than Paul Gribble's ChiTown Union Station. Located in Commerce Township, just northwest of Detroit, Michigan, you won't find a bigger one in North America. Paul's idea started early in life.
I grew up in Cincinnati and learned about trains when I was a kid. My grandfather used to take me out and watch the train. A few years ago, I got involved with a club, the Detroit Model Railroad Club, which is O-scale, and for now, since 1978, I've been into O-scale. This place was available. I didn't think I could afford it, but it turned out it wasn't any more expensive than some of the places I was looking at. So once I got this huge building, I thought, gee, I ought to be open to the public so people can enjoy it.
With that much going on, you can imagine that this layout took a little time to build.
Well, right now we have about 7,000 feet of track in operation. We got a little over 200 passenger cars and close to 1,000 freight cars on the layout. About 115 or 20 engines, it varies, depends on what we have.
Paul's layout is really about running trains, and while he runs the speeds to scale, you'll see that his trains travel from California to New York with the ChiTown Union Station smack dab in the middle.
I like passenger trains. I like the old passenger trains from the 50s and early 60s. They're very colorful, famous trains, and all the movie stars rolled from like New York to Chicago on the 20th Century Limited, and then from Chicago to LA on the Super Chief. I started with a theme of a major station being in Chicago. It's a 12-track station with multiple routes in and out of the station. And from that, it just evolved into, trains leave Chicago and they go somewhere. So we just made some places where they can go.
It's certainly too much for one man to do it all, and Paul gets more than a little help from his friends.
Well, I started out basically by myself. Over the years, I've had probably 25 or 30 guys, but right now we have about a half dozen come pretty regularly and another half a dozen that come from time to time.
I saw an article in the local paper about ChiTown. I came over within minutes and found out what they were doing here, and I was hooked, and been helping Paul for the last 5-6 years build this place up. This place is fantastic. It's 10,000 square feet of just about anything anybody would want to do. Carpentry, electronics, prototype model building, you name it, it's here. The artistry that's gone in here, the mural that you see behind you is phenomenal. Anything you'd be interested in, you can do here.
I met Paul 6 years ago when I came up to the Detroit Model Railroad Club to demonstrate DCC to the club, and Paul was in attendance at that time. And he asked me to come over and visit his layout. I figured it was just a standard basement layout. The day I walked in here, I've never left.
I've had friends in my family that think I'm completely nuts for playing with trains. Why do you do this? I bring them to places like this here, to some of the other organizations I go to. I show them my layout, and people start to understand that it's not just a bunch of grown men playing with toy trains. It's a lot of workmanship, it's a lot of skills. There's a lot to do here.
Even though this is a large layout, Paul uses the process of selective compression to pack a lot into this area.
Selective compression is basically trying to get a scene into a small area, just vignettes instead of the whole thing. Like if you look at, say, Chicago, I mean, you couldn't do Chicago in a whole city block, more or less, as building. So you pick certain areas and just do parts of it.
Getting all these trains to run requires a bit of help. Paul decided early on that computer control was essential to the operation.
We have a computerized control system that can run up to, we were running 21 trains today with it, and then we can run other trains manually, but we can usually just kick back and run 24, 25 trains and take a nap. It runs itself once we get it going.
Visual dispatcher is the portion of the computer that runs trains automatically. It controls the acceleration and deceleration, keeps track of where the other trains are on the railroad so they don't run into each other. If we have a breakdown, all the trains behind it stop. All these are the individual, essentially in-cab displays. I have the throttle, tells me how fast the train is going. I have the cab indicator, tells me the condition of 2 blocks ahead. Am I going to have to be stopping, or can the train keep running, just like if I was a real engineer?
The ChiTown Union Station layout isn't done, but it is open to the public. For a few dollars, you can see the largest 2-rail O-scale layout in North America. So why does Paul do it?
Because I'm kind of nuts. I'm getting a little older and I enjoy it and always had fun with it. And so a lot of guys come and enjoy it, and the camaraderie of it, and it's something to do. And it's a very creative thing. What people don't realize is we're artists. We're artists in 3-dimensional. Everything is working. We get all kinds of comments when people come in to see what we're doing. There's people who are real modelers, and they look at the details. They, oh, wow, look at that. And then we have kids come in, they come running in, they look down the aisle, or we have a Thomas, a train set up in the back. They go running down, look at Thomas, and then go around a few times, then they'll come over here and look at these trains. And we have a good time.
ChiTown Union Station. Start with one man's dream, add the help of friends, and the result is something that can be shared by all, young and old alike.